Hey, so today I want to go over how to build on Vex, because it seems like a lot of people are building her wrong and doesn't know when to build a mythic item or when to just build in general. So what if we start about going over the runes first? Generally, I would say you always want to go domination, and you want to go electrocute, cheap shot, eye collector, ultimate hunter. For secondary, I would say either sorcerer or precision. And if you really struggle into something like set or something else that like bursts you in like 3 hits, um, you can go this. If it's a bit more sustained damage and you struggle against it, you can go second wind. I personally do not think this is optimal, but it is okay to take. Now, everybody I've seen go sorcery seconds is picking up mana flow band, which is, it's honestly just a terrible fucking rune. If you want mana, you want to go palm. This is just insane, like anywhere from 4k to 8k mana in a game is absolutely insane. Like mana band just or mana flow band just can't keep up with this at all. It's not even close. Like this is just insane. And then if you really don't want damage, you can go tenacity, cause I recommend sword boots. If there's a lot of CC, you can go this. Normally I don't do it myself. I would go Coup de Grace for more damage. You don't necessarily need it. You could also go Last Stand, but I'm not a big fan of Last Stand. I would go Coup de Grace over it. If they do have a really tanky team, maybe it's only the AD carry that's the squishy. Maybe they have a bruiser top, a tank jungler, a tank support, and a bruiser mid lane, since bruisers counter her more than most other mid laners. If you're in a scenario like that, or they're like tank top, tank jungle, tank mid, or bruiser mid, and then an enchanter bot and AD carry, you probably want to go cut down as well, because this is the best rune you got to deal with tanky targets. So for sorcery, I would go Transcendence, and if you are against a heavy AP team, you can pick up Nullifying Orb. If you have more scale heavy comp, Gathering Storm is really good, but Gathering Storm is also just really good in solo queue, because games in solo queue tend to go quite long at times. I don't see very often 20-minute games. They're always like 25 to 40 minutes. And this really just outscales anything else, along with the items you pick up. This just gives so much value. Like mana is just not even close. This is really good rune. So that's what I would go for sorcery. I would go attack speed rune. This is what I would go. Not only for CSing easier, but also for easier get electrocute off at level 1, have better traits. A lot of people don't go in for auto attacks, or if they're playing against like Valkos or Seraph and they never get in range to auto attack and they CSing fine, you can go adaptive. This is fine too, so either one of these are fine. And then obviously armor or magic resist depending on what you're against. So for items, okay, so I would always start corrupting pot every single game. You like to trade a lot, even from level 1 you start E and you like to trade. Auto, E, auto, get electrocute proc if you can. On your first back, always get Dark Shield first. I can't stress this enough. It is such a good item. Even if you only get 2 kills, 3 assists, maybe you die once, get an assist, it doesn't matter. The value of this item throughout the entire game is too insane not to pick up. The amount of AP you get from this item if you do get kills is insane. The amount of AP you can get after a team fight for the next team fight is insane. It's just overall an insane gold value item that you should never skip. And if you do get fed, you can turn it into a Magi's, which is gonna scale really well with your build. So it's just overall the best item to get on your first back, in my opinion. It's the best gold for value. It's the most AP you're gonna get. You're gonna get some more health for your corrupting pot. It's just overall way better than anything else you can get. And the 350 gold towards a mythic item isn't actually gonna save you anything that will outperform the Dark Seal itself. If you do have more gold, you can pick up an ant tome or 2, however much gold you have. And in some matchups you want to pick up a control ward and place it down, obviously. Now, so for mythics, I recommend always going Ludens in most cases. If they do have like 3 or 4 tanks, yes, Leandris will outperform Ludens. And in those games you can go Leandris, but if they have 2 squishies or 3 squishies, always go Ludens. And try to just focus on assassinating those squishy targets. Your job is not to deal with the tanks, it's to pick off the squishy targets with your ult, try to flank, one-shot them, and then kite the tanks, or let your AD carry, or if you have any other champions on your team that can deal with the tanks, let them deal with it. It is better, but there will be in very few games Leandris is gonna be beneficial when there is like 3 or 4 tanks and you don't have anybody else to deal with the tanks. Then you go cut down on Leandris. Now, Everfrost is a very situational item. The best champion I have found to take Everfrost against is Tryndamere, for sure. If Tryndamere isn't running TP, then you don't really need to run it either. If he is running TP, you might want to run TP as well. Regardless, what you want to do is pick up Everfrost, and as soon as it gets out of laning phase and Tryndamere starts to split push, you want to match Tryndamere instead of your top laner. The reason you want Everfrost is you try to kite and poke Tryndamere down, and when he does prop his ult, you can prop Everfrost to keep him in place and then line it up with the fear afterwards. So you pretty much CC him in the entire duration of his ult almost, and therefore negating his ult, making you able to kite him and kill him. If you do not go Everfrost, he will simply run you down once the fear ends and kill you. So against something like Tryndamere, you always go Everfrost and then try to match him later in the game. Now there's a few more champions I would go this against. Something like Kayn and Nocturne. They are really good at assassinating Vex, cause they can go in with Edge of Night or with Nocturne W spell shield. They put on the spell shield and you can't fear them, and they will pretty much one-shot you. Either you save your spell and do nothing and hope you don't die, and a teammate procs the spell shield, or you build Everfrost. You use the Everfrost active, then you press W at the same time, and one of them, I suggest Everfrosting and then W, and the Everfrost will take the spell shield, and then you will fear them, and then you can one-shot them. Always go Everfrost into Kane and Nocturne. That's something I will suggest as well. Those Tryndamere, Kane and Nocturne are like 3 champions you definitely want to go it against. There are other assassins that might pick up Edge of Night and get the spell shield, like Kha'Zix. But I think those champions are way lower range. Kha'Zix jumps isn't that far, like Nocturne ult is half across the map. Kane can sit in walls and come out of nowhere. So it's easier to position against things like Kha'Zix, have your teammates around and have them proc the spell shield before he reaches you. Therefore I don't think you ever need Everfrost against them if you do play right. So if there's any champions with spell shields or like long immunities, like Kale, you can take it against Kale if you do want to kite out the Kale ult. I haven't met any Kales personally, so I can't really comment on it, how efficient it is, but you can use Everfrost to CC Kale ult out just like you do with Tryndamere, so that might be another option where you take Everfrost. So in general, Ludens and Everfrost is very, very, very situational, and probably 95 or 90% of your games will be running Ludens. And I suggest Sork boots, I just like them too much. I think the magic pen early game is just way too much damage. And I don't think you need the armor or red magic resist from your boots. I think there's other items you can build that benefit you more than the boots will. Then we have Horizon Focus versus Death Cap. So this is something I have been preaching a lot. Some people might have seen, or maybe not, that I am a big hater on Horizon Focus. It isn't that bad of an item, it's okay, but Death Cap just outshines it, even though it is 600 gold more. I will come back to this a little later. Then we have situational items. White Staff explains itself. If they're building a lot of magic resist, you get White Staff. Are you against a lot of ADs? Do they have some key abilities you want to Sonya's so you can live? Well, you get Sonya's obviously. Do they have a ton of healing and no one on your team is building grievous wounds? And are you playing against a Soraka that in bot lane is gonna heal mid lane and you're gonna lose? Are you playing against an Aatrox mid with a Soraka bot lane? Then you might wanna rush Morello Nomicon second. Situations like that, most people know. Banshees, obviously if there's a lot of magic damage, you wanna get Banshees. If there is things like a Sona, Banshees is really good because you can ult in and the Banshees will take the Sona ult for you, so she can't just straight up ult you. And it's very unlikely that she gets a Q and ult off before your fear goes off. So against targets like Sona, Cassiopeia, Banshees is a really good item. Even if they don't have a full AP team, you can always go Sonya's and Banshees. I think that's a really good comp. You get a lot of CDR and survivability, and you get enough AP to kill targets still. I have seen people go both Horizon Focus and Death Cap, which I think is overkill. You are an assassin and you want to kill the squishies, and you only need one of these to kill a squishy target. And even with one of them, you normally overkill targets anyway. So there's no reason to get both of them. They are not gonna help you that much against tanks, really. I think survivability is way more worth it. You're not meant to kill tanks, and this isn't gonna getting a Horizon focus instead of these isn't gonna help that much if you die because of it. The damage to tank isn't gonna be a lot. Then we have Magi's. Obviously, you always buy Dark Seal on first back. If you are snowballing a lot and you're not at in any big risk of dying, let's say you're 10-0 and you have had a team fight or two and you're pretty much safe, like you don't see a threat in any of those team fights where you are going to die, then you just go straight up Magi Soul Stealer, because it will benefit you a lot. It's explained itself. Then you have Cosmic Drive. I actually really like this item, but I almost never build it. Just because in a lot of games you do not have space for it. It's a situational item you build when you have space for it. So let's say you go Ludens, Sorg, Death Cap, and they're building magic resist, so you need Void Staff. And you're really fed, so you get Magi's. And you're probably gonna want either Banshees or Sonias for damage or survivability. But in case they don't have any threats to you and they're mostly like melee champions, I'm not sure if they have like a set top lane, Sejuani jungle, Aatrox mid, Yasuo AD carry, and a Lulu, something like that, then you might not need a Sonias and Banshees, and you can go Cosmic Drive to kite them and get a lot of ability haste. It's really good for kiting, and it does give a lot of ability haste, but it's very few situations where I think it's actually good. So yeah, there are situations where you do want it, but it's far and few between. I don't think you want it over Sonias or Banshees against champions like Zed and stuff that can lock you down and kill you very easily. Like Zed can ult in on you and kill you if he wants to, if you don't have your fear up. Maybe you had to use your fear on a Kayn. You ever thrust the Kayn and fear him, and then the Zed goes in. If you don't have Sonias, you die. So yeah, there just isn't a lot of games where you can build it. There are some games where maybe they're full AD, they're not building any magic resist, and you have space for it. Like you will go Ludens, Sorg, Magi's, Sonias, and then you can get Cosmic Drive and Death Cap, because they're not building MR. They're full AD, so you only really need Sonias. They don't have a lot of healing, so you don't really need Morellos. Like that game, it's fine to get Cosmic Drive, it's perfectly fine, but it's really far and few between. So Death Cap versus Horizon Focus. I'm not sure why people like Horizon Focus so much. I think it's just because it's cheap on paper and it gives the same burst in theory. It doesn't quite give the same burst, but it's along the same. Here are the runes I'm gonna go. Very normal rune setup that I use all the time. So the thing is, you might get 100, 200 more damage on an all-in burst with Horizon Focus, but that's all you get. It's that 200 more damage on a burst when you're already one-shotting a target. So it doesn't really make much sense. Let's go, let's say level 10. We're level 10 with 2 items, right? Toggle minions spawn. Fully stacked runes. We're gonna assume we have fully stacked runes. Gonna spawn a dummy. We're gonna assume it has 40 magic resist, which is very normal. 40 magic resist and armor. Gonna give it some HP. We're gonna assume this is another squishy like you. Now I'm gonna give it 200 more HP, which is probably unlikely for it to have, but we're giving it a little bit more than we are gonna assume it has. So for one shot it's gonna be really simple. All you do is this, and it's 1800. Okay, so now without electrocute, 1600-ish. So you're gonna one-shot anyone with this build, right? It's fine. If we do use a Q, 453. So it's not a lot of them. That is because I was far enough away. 5-9. So if you do have Horizon Focus procced, it's okay, but you're not gonna have it procced in every game. So in general it's 453. Now if we get Death Cap instead, $1800. It's pretty much the same as Horizon Focus. See, pretty much the same on 2 items. Now the thing is, your Q does more damage. Your Q does more damage, your W does more damage, your E does more damage, your W shields for more, you do more damage to minion waves, you have better wave clear, you have better close combat, sustain poke. Whenever you don't have Horizon Focus procced, or whenever you're clearing waves, anything like that, on 2 items, Death Cap is going to do more. The only time Horizon Focus and Death Cap does the same amount of damage is when you are long range, full comboing one target and killing them. But the extra damage you get, or the damage from Horizon Focus, doesn't matter, because it does the same as Death Cap, and you are overkilling the targets anyway. So is it worth spending 600 gold to do more consistent damage, to better clear waves, to have a bigger W shield, to have a better scaling E for late game? Well, in my opinion it is, because with each AP item you get, this gets better and better, and especially with Magi's. Once you get into like a late game build, this is a very standard build, you're gonna have a lot of AP. Let's see. Oh, I can't actually stack it, can I? Okay, I can't actually stack Magi's. But in theory, you're gonna have like over 700 ability power, right? And if you get Horizon Focus instead, it's gonna be 400. Your shield is gonna be lower, your E is gonna do less, your Q is gonna do less, your wave clear is gonna be worse. Your damage when you are bursting a target is gonna be somewhat the same. It's gonna be a bit higher on death cap, up to around, it goes to around 200 to 400 damage difference at best on death cap if you're full Magi stacked in late game. But Horizon Focus doesn't actually do more damage than death cap at any point in the game, really. So you're paying 600 gold to do the same damage on your burst, but do more damage anytime you're not bursting, anytime you're not having Horizon Focus procced, which is way worth it, because late game you'll also do more damage. 600 gold to do more damage with each item, that's a win in my book, honestly. Horizon Focus just gets hard outscaled, and the 600 less gold cost for having to try and play around keeping the passive up just really isn't worth it. It just really isn't. It's 600 gold, really isn't worth it. You lose so much W power. Like, this is 473 shield. Let's see how much it is now. 600. That's over 200. It's not 200 effective AP, it's, or HP, it's like 100, I don't remember what I say, 150 or something. 130. 130 extra effective HP is really good. Every 13 seconds. You might get this off 2 times in a team fight or 1. If you do get it off 2 times in a team fight, it's pretty good. Now do remember, if you have Magi stacks, it's gonna be over 200 extra effective HP, which is just way better. 600 gold for 200 more HP every time you press W, every time you press Q, every time you clear waves, you do way more damage. The only time Horizon Focus kinda does the same damage, or slightly less than death cap late game, is when you're bursting a target that you overburst anyway, regardless of what you build. It just makes Horizon Focus really fucking pointless. There's really no actual reason to go Horizon Focus, but people keep fucking building it, and it makes no sense. You're doing less damage when it matters, and doing the same damage when it doesn't matter, for 600 less gold. Yeah, it's just terrible. It's not that bad, but it's a difference that's big enough to never pick up Horizon Focus. It's just really not worth it, honestly. So, yeah, that's it's pretty much everything. I would show some gameplay, but honestly, I only have like shit gameplays where I'm stomping people and shit, or 4v5s, and the match is always bugged anyway, so yeah, it does. Maybe I'll upload some gameplay later of how to actually play lane and freeze. I did have one game where I was freezing the Yasuo or freezing the Fizz and really abusing them. People say you can't freeze mid lane, which is obviously not true. They're just not playing correctly. And against melee champions like Fizz and Yasuo, you can perma freeze and keep them away from getting gold. Even if they still get some experience, you're gonna heavily out itemize them, and they can't ever go in on you to stop the freeze, because you're gonna kill them. If they do, you're gonna cancel that dashes with your W field. So as long as you keep the wave under control, you win those lanes. So yeah, it's pretty simple. Most people should know how to play lane, but I might make another video on that later. Okay, thanks for watching and goodbye.